Hi guys, what's up? This is Rahul, and you're watching Menoverse, a conversation for men. And this is going to be the second lecture of No More Mr. Nice Guy and how to fix the nice guy syndrome. In the first part of the lecture, in the first part of this lecture, we talked about the origins of a nice guy. Why is being nice such a bad thing? What are the qualities or what are the personality traits of a nice guy? Why are nice guys the way they are? We talked about a couple of those things, and I mentioned a lot of personality traits, or I mentioned a lot of behavior patterns that you may relate to, that you may think that, oh fuck, I'm also doing the same things. So in this part of the lecture, we are going to talk about the birth of the nice guy, or soft man, or weak man, right? How do they develop like this? What happens in the childhood, or what actually happens that leads nice guys to become nice? Okay, let's start. The most important characteristic of a nice guy is that they are wounded. They develop some unhealthy coping mechanisms in the childhood, which might have been helpful when they were children, but as an adult, their coping strategy falls right on its face. So, in the previous video, we talked about this. I said that as children, one of the only controls that we have around our world is that we can cry and we can throw tantrums and we can make noises, we can pout, we can make angry noises, and then our parents come and they give us sympathy, they give us love, they solve the problem that we are facing. They take care of whatever issue or whatever it is that is bothering us, that is making us sad. But what happens is there is a point of time where you have to break with this kind of behavior. And usually, guys who are like nice guys, they never really get over this kind of a behavior pattern. They still are wimpy. They still keep crying on small things. They still believe, or they still unconsciously accept that someday, their mom is going to come and comfort them. And this is probably the reason that they're looking for women so much. They're looking for women's validation so often. They're looking for women's validation and the safety of women because of the first thing, the women are not going to challenge them like other men, right? Women are not going to challenge them. Women are a little bit nicer. Women are more nurturing, and they're more caring than men. So if you are a nice guy, then you would seek the company of women. You would seek friendship of women. You would seek, you know, intimacy with other women under the disguise of finding a second mother. So what you are actually trying to do is you are actually trying to find someone else who loves you like your mother used to love. So you would get attracted to girls who would, like, pamper you a lot, who would make you feel nice all the time, who will not challenge you, who are going to treat you like a baby, right? Because you again get a chance to go back to the comfort zone, go back to the safety of being a kid and being with, kind of a mother figure. So in this way, your girlfriend or the girl that you're dating or other women that you're trying to impress, or the other women that you're trying to get, it comes from a fucked up relationship. It does not come from a adult healthy male female relationship. It does not come from a relationship that I am a integrated well developed man and you are integrated well developed women and let's have a relationship together. It comes from a fact that I am building this relationship with you so that you can make me feel good about myself, you can take care of me, you can pamper me, and you can play the part of my second mother, and I can play the part of that child, right? So these things are cool. These things are okay when you're a kid, because a kid really can't do anything, right? He does not have a lot of control on his own life. But as an adult, you need to get over these kind of behavior patterns. You need to get over these mindsets. So these kind of coping mechanisms and these kind of survival strategies completely fail when you are an adult. Another important thing to note about nice guys is that all nice guys feel that there is something wrong with them. They don't feel safe or acceptable the way they are. They don't feel okay the way they are. So they try to manipulate the world around them by being nice, by trying to please other people, never being trouble, always doing things right, always putting their needs and feelings aside because they think that their needs and feelings and their desires are not important. This is also another classic thing. And we have talked about this in the previous lecture. We have talked about this in the previous video, that how nice guys try to break the rules by being nice. They think that if they are nice, then they are going to get all the success, all the love, and all the attention that they want to get. But the world does not care how nice you are. The world does not give a fuck about how polite you are, right? What the world cares about is if you can create something, if you can produce something, if you can fight for something, if you can solve a problem, if you can move ahead, if you can be a leader, right? If you can be a well functioning, high value member of the society. This is what the world cares about. Nobody cares about how nice you are, right? So if you think that by trying to manipulate the world around you and by trying to please everybody else, by trying to be a nice person, you are going to get everything that you want, then that is a complete disaster. That is something that is going to completely leave you in the way of harm. Other people are going to come and take advantage of you. Other people are going to come and bully you. Other people are totally going to destroy you and your personality and your identity if you keep on doing this. So you have to become somebody who can be aggressive when the need of aggression arises, right? You have to become somebody who can challenge and who can accept the competition and who can rise up to the occasion when there is a need for you to rise up. Cultural influence on men. This is one of the major factors on developing on the developmental process of a nice guy, right? So feminism, the first thing is feminism, right? Since last 30, 40, 50 years, schools, colleges are dominated by women. All your teachers are women, right? In most households, your dads are out working, right? And you never get to see what your dad is doing. You never get to see how your dad is with his work or what kind of work your dad is doing, right? You never get to see your dad's life. You always are surrounded with women, right? You're always surrounded with your mother. And if you go to preschool, if you go to, your early phases of the school, then most of the teachers are going to be females, right? Because women are good teachers. They have the capability of relating with the child and understanding the child. So it's a good thing that you have some women as a teacher. But what it does is that it gives the entire control to women to teach you how to become a man. And a girl or a woman or a female can never teach you how to become a man. Only a man can do that. And not also all men. Only some people, only some men who are well developed, who are self integrated, who are mature, who are strong, who are powerful, can teach you how to be a man, can teach you how to be an adult male, can teach you how to be a warrior, can teach you how to be an alpha male, right? So what feminism has done is feminism has, first of all, created a toxic mindset around masculinity and created a toxic mindset around aspects of masculinity that make men men. For example, assertiveness. So feminism says that assertiveness is toxic, like the need for competition. Feminism says that that is toxic. Then another thing which the feminism says is they shame men for their sexual desires, for their sexuality. But like obviously you have no control over your sexual desires. You are born into a male and you have male hormones, you have testosterone, you have a ball, you have a dick, you have a penis, you have these things built into you, right? You have these things inside you and you cannot do anything. You are a guy and your nature is to be a guy. But feminism developed a toxic view of men's sexuality, of men's aggression, right? Another thing that feminism made very, very bad, or another thing that feminism framed as evil in men, was the need to achieve, right? Because men naturally have a nature of conquering. Men are, you can say, men tend towards perfection, men tend towards achievement, tend towards creation, men tend towards ambition, right? This is a core part of being a man, that you go out and you conquer, right? Whether it is in your job, whether it is in your health, whether it is in your relationship, whether it is in your social circle, whether it is in anything, in any other area of your life, whether you are playing a sport, you have to go out and conquer. And this is something that men resonate with. Men love doing this because this is your nature. You're built like this. Men love conquering. Men love ambition. Men are ambitious by nature. Men are supposed to be ambitious by nature. Men are aggressive by nature, right? Men are like, so the alpha male, or the, if I have to tell you the ideal for masculinity, then that is going to be our sun, right? So our sun, as in the star, Suraj, the star, the sun. Now look at the sun. The sun is considered as the epitome of masculinity, right? Everything masculine has similar properties like sun, right? Sun is warm, sun is hot, sun gives life, but sun can also burn you if you stay in the sun for too long, right? Water is considered as feminine because water is fluid, it's ever changing, it's nurturing, it's cold, right? It gives birth to life. So water is considered as feminine, and fire is considered as masculine, right? So these are the very, very fundamental distinctions between masculine energy and between feminine energy. The feminine energy likes to be, you know, in its place. It's a little bit chaotic, it's a little bit irregular, it's a little bit irrational, right? Like for example, rivers are chaotic, oceans are chaotic, right? Weather is chaotic. You can never predict what is the weather which is going to be in an ocean. These things are come under a very chaotic nature, right? But fire has a property. Fire burns, but it also cooks your food. It also can kill you, but it can also give you life, right? Which is important, because if we don't have the sun, life on earth would be impossible. And if also we don't have water, life on earth would be impossible. So we have to have a mixture of yin and yang. We have to have a mixture of heat and cold. We have to have a mixture of masculine and feminine in order to produce anything. So any kind of production happens because masculine energy, which is order, which is the energy of conquering, which is the energy of ambition, which is the energy of direction, purpose, combines with the energy of chaos, which is the feminine, right? And these things combine, this thing brings out some chaos, brings out some order, brings out some structure from the chaotic world, and it produces something. Okay. So the first thing is feminism. Feminism has kind of fucked up men's world, and feminism has kind of created a skewed version of what a healthy male should be. So according to feminism, a healthy male should be a person who, is nice, takes care of everybody, who is polite with everybody, who understands everybody, who is not very aggressive, who's not very masculine, who's not very ambitious, right? Because these things are termed as negatives in the eyes of feminism, right? And since we live in a very, very highly feminized world, the job of nurturing boys into being a man fall under women, right? The jobs of bringing up boys to be men went to women, because men or fathers were very, very busy in the job. They were out in the battlefield. They're out doing something, right? So most people are brought up by women, right? If you go to school, you are going to be taught by women. And there is an amazing, I think this dialogue is from Fight Club. There's an amazing dialogue in Fight Club. It says, the dialogue goes like this: it's not that we have a lack of masculinity. It's not that we have a lack of femininity in this world. Is that we have an over abundance of femininity. And I don't think another woman is the answer that we need. The answer that we need, or what we need to do, is we need to relate to men. We need to start appreciating, and we need to start understanding a man's nature, and it's okay to be a man, right? Another thing which drives the development of nice guys is fathers being away from their home. So young men or young boys never get chance to sit down with their fathers and learn from him, right? How to conduct yourself in the world, how to behave in the world, how to live your life, or what to do in certain situations. Being a guy can only be taught by being a guy. And the similar thing with being a female. Being a woman can only be taught by a woman. But if you look at your families, you would see that daughters spend a lot of time with mothers, right? But the sons, right? They're not the boys of the house. They're not going to spend that much time with their fathers. They're going to be spending most of the times with other young boys or with other females. like mothers, aunts, teachers, etc. So the lack of fathers, the lack of strong fathers, the lack of available fathers, the lack of fathers are who give a fuck about their boys and their boys' development is a major problem in the society that has led men to become weak and nice and soft. Masculinity is being shamed. We have talked about how in the current media, in the current social media, or if you see news, masculinity is being shamed by terms and phrases like men will always be men, right? So they always use this in a negative context. Men will always be men, right? They never use this like when a guy wins Olympic medal for the country. They never say that men will be men, right? They never say men will be men when like something discovers something like for Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk is doing such a great job, right? They never say men are always going to be men when they fight for their country and they die. They never say men are going to be men when they you know nurture their own families, when they save other people, right? They never say that men are going to be men. But whenever you see a rape article, whenever you see a harassment article that a girl was harassed in a bus, or the girl was raped in a metro, or the girl went through this, the girl went through that, you're always going to hear men will be men, right? That men need to be fixed in some way. What pisses me off is that the entire society is kind of focused on a very, very small subset of men, like 0.0001% of men in the society that are like that, right? How many, like in India, let's say in India, we are 1.2 billion people, right? How many people do you think are murderers? How many people do you think are murderers? Maybe like 5,000, 5,000 murderers around there, which is a very, very small subset, which is a very, very, very minute subset of the entire male population. 99.999% of male population is good. It's diligent. They're respectful. Um, they work hard. They love other people. They love other women. They protect other women. 99.999% of men do everything good. But due to this, due to these, 200, 300 men, the entire masculinity is often judged and it's often shamed, right? As if everybody's like that. No, not everybody's like that, right? It's a fucked up thing to label all men just because there are women also who use their husband's money and then divorce them so that they can get rich overnight. We never say women are always going to be women when that happens. We never use that phrase. We never say that, all women are fucked up or women need to be fixed. Women never say that. We just say that, oh, that woman in particular was evil. That woman in particular was bad. She was fucked up. But the rest of the women are angels. But when it comes to men, it's always men will always be men, right? Men will always be men, and I hate that. Another thing is your aggression, your ambition is being shamed in modern society. Being aggressive, right? Being a little bit loud, uh, being a little bit extroverted. Right? It's termed as something kind of lame, right? It's termed as something which is you're not cool, right? What is cool is if you stay in your place and if you don't make eye contact with the other people, and if you're introverted, right? Introversion is introversion is being cool, the new cool in our society, right? Like just staying home and reading books and being nice, being environment friendly. All of these things are good, but they are being glamorized. Like introversion is being glamorized, weakness and softness is being glamorized, right? Most men were raised by women who themselves did not know what a man is, which is very true. They try to raise boys into an ideal that they think should be the right kind of male. So every woman has an ideal statue or an ideal figure in her head of what a grown-up man should be, what an alpha male should be, what an adult, mature, healthy male should be. And they try their best to raise kids to be an adult, healthy male, but they can never do that. It can only be done by a mentor. It can only be done by somebody who is a coach. It can only be done by somebody who is your elder brother, who is your father, right? It can only be done by these people. Women will never be able to teach you how to be men. You will have to learn how to be men by other men, by looking at other men, by having strong role models, by having healthy male around you. Okay. So they try to raise boys into an ideal that they think it's what they think should the right kind of male be. But that thought is not based on reality. That is a fucked up perversion of the reality, right? That is not what reality is like. You have created a false image of what real men are in your head, and you are manipulating your boys into becoming that male. Let's move ahead. Now we are going to be talking about parenting issues and abandonment issues, which is again a childhood problem, which is again a parenting problem that makes nice guys the way they are. And this is one of the major reasons. We have also already talked about feminism and the lack of fathers in our society, and how modern society shames masculinity, shames men from being men, shames their sexuality, shames their aggressions, shames their assertiveness, shames their ambition, right? That is one of the major parts. That is one area that we talked about. Why nice guys become the way they are, or why are so many men becoming nice and wimpy and weak? Now, in this second chapter, in the second slide, we are going to talk about parenting issues and abandonment issues. The first thing, I'm going to start with kids. So I'm just going to read it out loud and then I'm going to explain it. But I have written everything down in such a way that it should be self-explanatory. Kids are totally dependent on their parents. Their parents are their entire world. So being abandoned temporarily or permanently makes them feel as if they have been banished from the entire world. So for a kid, abandonment means death, because a kid cannot function on its own. It needs, whether it is a girl or a boy, it needs the support of parents. It needs the support of family members. It needs care, attention, love, protection, nurture, nutrition, right? Shelter, warmth. A kid needs these things. So being abandoned temporarily or permanently makes them feel as if they have been banished from the entire world. They feel that they are dead or they are dying. They internalize that belief that they are broken machinery, right? They internalize that belief that they are like a broken sofa, or like a broken chair, like a broken furniture that should be placed in the garage or that should be placed in the storeroom. And when the right time comes, you have to get rid of that broken piece of machinery or equipment or furniture. This is what these kids start feeling like. They feel like they are defected products that can never be accepted as who they are. To children, abandonment means death, simply speaking, right? So if you have, like, if the child goes through abandonment issues, if the parents are not present or emotionally available, or if one parent is missing, like if the dad is missing or if the mom is missing, then it can create a negative life cycle. It can create very, very negative beliefs in the child's head. You can also go into this that if the relationship of your mom and dad is not very good, if the relationship is if they are too distant from each other, then also you will develop these kind of issues. If they fight all the time, then also you will develop these kind of issues, right? So your parvarish or your nurturing, your upbringing depends greatly on how healthy your parents are. So the first thing, the most important thing, I would say that if we want to solve this problem, if we want to solve the problem of weak men or wimpy, pathetic, nice guys, then we have to start from the level of parenting itself, right? So I am going to talk about how to get out of that, but this is more complicated than if your parents were healthy and if your parents were wise. If your parents have been wise, you would never even find this problem, right? And this problem would never become so big that it would completely fuck your entire life up. So the first thing, I think we need to start from the level of parenting, from the level of child upbringing or child nurturing, right? Or the child growth. The second level where we need to tackle this problem, where we should be tackling this problem as a society, is the level of teachers. So, for example, when kids start going to mm, kindergarten or their early schooling, right? Till the time they're 12, right? Before reaching their teens, because from 13, your teenage starts. And so before reaching 13, till that age of 0 to 12, teachers need to be extra careful in helping men, in helping boys become a good teenager and a good, men, good guys, and helping girls become healthy, good girls. It's important. You cannot just leave child to do whatever he wants to do, because a child does not know stuff. A child will go out in the road and start playing, and then somebody would come and hit the child with a car or somewhere, right? So you cannot completely let the child, because the child does not know anything about the world. The child does not even know anything about itself. The child does not have the conception that one day he is going to die or one day she is going to die. The child does not understand morality. The child does not understand ego, identity, society, right? The child does not understand the concept of, evil, or the concept of laws, rules, regulations, government. So you need to tell what the world is like to a child. We need to dictate it to the child what the world is like, not in a very forceful manner, but yes, gently but strongly we need to dictate these things. You cannot just let children do anything that they want. You cannot just let children be anything that they want, right? Why would you do that? So they internalize the belief that they are broken machinery. They are defective products that can never be accepted by as who they are. To children, abandonment means death. Another point is kids are totally helpless. So if a kid wants something and his or her needs are not fulfilled at the right time, then he internalizes a belief that his needs are not important. Because if his needs were important, his mommy and daddy would come and attend to his needs, would come and attend to his problems. But since uh, this doesn't happen, the kids start realizing that his needs, his desires, his goals are not important. He is not important, because he's fucked up, because he's a broken machinery, because he's messed up, he's imperfect, he's flawed, he's useless, right? He's abandoned. This is the reason. This is also another reason, like for example, I grew up in a very middle class family, and when I would go out on my birthday, I would tell dad that I want to buy this, I want to buy that, and my dad would be like, no, no, that's too costly. So the first thing that happened was I understood that I don't have to, I don't have access to things that are too costly. They're out of my reach. I developed a mindset, or I internalized a mindset that I don't deserve costly things, or I don't deserve good things. I only deserve things that are cheap. I only deserve things that are easily available, that are that come at a very, very cheap price. So this made me believe that my goals that are very high, what I wanted to achieve, they were out of my reach. I did not deserve those goals. I only deserve things that are easily achievable, or that are easy to get. So this is something that I internalized. Another thing that I internalized as growing up and middle class, and having to say no to a lot of things, is that I realized that my parents are not all powerful. Because as a kid, you think that your parents are like superhumans. They can do anything that you want them to do, because obviously your parents are your entire world. Your family is your entire world as a child, right? But when they fail to fulfill your demands or fulfill your needs in the right way, or if they are unable to fulfill your needs and demands in the right way, or attend to your desires in the right way, then what happens is you start believing that I was wrong about my mom and dad. This is what is happening in your mind. You start to believe that I was wrong about my mom and dad. My mom and dad are not all powerful. So why even work so hard? Why become a good guy? Because if I become an adult, if I grow up and become like my mom and dad, I will not be able to afford all those things too. Those things are going to be out of my reach too. So mom, dad worked so hard for what? What did they fucking get? And they can't even buy me this piece of, toy. They can't even buy me this clothes. They can't even buy me that bike or that cycle. So why grow up? This leads to these guys, like this realization and this belief system traps boys into a very childish nature for the rest of their lives. So these kind of boys, they grow up to become hippies. They grow up to become too spiritual. They grow up to become too nice, or they grow up to become somebody who's like like hippies. Like, I'm just here to enjoy, I'm just here to have fun, I'm just here to enjoy life and the pleasures of life, and I don't want to do anything, I don't want to go through any trouble, I don't want to go through any suffering, I don't want to take any responsibility on myself. So these are some things that fuck up your belief systems as an adult. And it is very, very possible that you can live your entire life in this fucked up mindset. It is very possible that you can live your entire life in this state, in this broken belief system. And it's important for you to get out, because if you don't, you're going to have a very miserable life. You're going to never get out of this nice guy syndrome, and other people are constantly going to use you, constantly going to fuck you over. They're constantly going to manipulate you. They're constantly going to defeat you, and you'll have no control on your life, right? So kids are totally helpless. So if a kid wants something and his needs are not fulfilled, then he internalizes and he starts believing that his needs are not that important. And this turns to another realization, in which he thinks that since his needs are not that important, therefore he must also not be very important. Okay. So his self-esteem, boom, goes down, crashes. His self-confidence, boom, goes down, crashes. His self-worth, boom, goes down, crashes. He loses his identity. He becomes a victim, right? He becomes a fucking victim. He becomes a patient for the rest of his life. Because he is not important, he learns that he is not supposed to get anything he wants. He learns that he does not deserve good thing in life. He learns that he does not deserve things that he wants in his life. Okay, moving on. If they are punished physically by the parents, or shouted at, or yelled at, or severely criticized, then they think that they are the cause of the parents' anger. They learn to hide themselves. They learn not to be expressive. They learn helplessness. Right? They learn helplessness, and helplessness is another word for victim mindset. If you feel that you are helpless, you cannot help yourself, then obviously you are a victim. A victim has a helpless mindset. So young boys, they learn helplessness. Now let me break down this paragraph a little bit more so that you understand this. If they're punished physically by the parents, like thappar, like if they got a beating, or if shouted at or yelled at constantly, I'm not talking about once or twice. It's fine. Like, if you are shouted at or yelled at by your mom and dad once or twice in your life, it's fine. It's completely fine. It should not create any problems. But if this happens consistently, like every month, this is happening, this has become a pattern, this has become a life pattern, then that's a fucking big problem. Or they are severely criticized like all the time, like you will not amount to anything, you'll not become up to be successful, you'll not grow up to be successful, you are fucked up, you are the reason for all our troubles. If they're constantly criticized by the parents or by the people around them, then they start to think that they are the cause of the anger. They start to think that they caused their parents to be in such a fucked up mood, because kids are very, very egocentric. Kids don't understand the world and they have a fucked up view of the world. For them, their entire world is their parents, and they are the center of that entire world. So if anything goes bad in the entire world, kids automatically believe that they are the reason for that. They caused that problem in the first place. So they always keep themselves as the fucked up part of the equation. They always think that they are somehow bad, because how can mom and dad not be perfect? They gave birth to me, they are raising me up, they're doing everything for me, they're feeding me, they're giving me shelter. So obviously mom and dad are perfect. They have to be perfect. It's only me who is fucked up. So it's called as learned helplessness. Another slide. Another thing which you have to take in account is naivety and egocentric personality of kids that I talked a little bit about. And in this slide, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. So the truth is that kids don't really know anything about the real world, because they have been living in their home in the safety of the parents and the family. So they have no idea about what the world is like. For them, their entire world is their parents, that kids try to control at their best. So kids try to manipulate the world around them, right? Even if they are like 6 months old, they're 1 year old, they still try to control the world around them by crying or by throwing tantrums, by breaking things to get attention. This is a very classic thing, right? Kids will like Jan Mujke, they are going to break things, but on they are going to break things on purpose so that somebody gives them attention, right? So they can do anything for attention, basically. So for them, their entire world is their parents. That kids try to control at the best. I'm not placing a moral judgment here on kids that kids are supremely good. No, it's not the case. It's just that they are extremely naive. They don't have the notion of good and evil, and they're beyond good and evil. Kids don't understand morality. Kids don't understand, what a loss is like. Kids don't understand what death is like. Kids don't understand what a fight is like or what a divorce is like. Kids don't understand complex emotions like us human beings or us grown up people. For them, whatever they can do in order to get their parents' attention, that is moral for them. That is right for them because they're kids. And usually we are very, very forgiving with kids, right? If a kid, kind of threw your phone away, phone broke, you're going to be like, yeah, they are kids. They do that all the time. But if I throw your phone away, oh my God, you're going to fight me so bad, right? So we are very forgiving with kids. But I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to place a moral judgment that kids are evil or good, right? I'm not trying to say that all kids are good or all kids are evil. I'm trying to say that all kids come with a psychology, come with a nature, come with a personality, and they can do things that are immoral because they don't understand the side of the moral side of the world. They don't understand what is good or evil. They are, in a sense, you can say that kids are beyond good and evil. Another thing is egocentric psychology. Since they feel that the entire world is their parents, they blame themselves for the parents' faults. So if say like dad hits mom, so they think the kid is going to think that he or she is the cause, he or she is the reason because of which dad is slapping mom or dad is fighting with mom. If your mom is shouting at dad, then kids are going to think that he or she is the reason that mom is shouting on dad, right? Because everything is egocentric for kid. They are the center of the universe, and every cause and effect is related back to them in their own little world, right? If the parents are angry, kid thinks that it's his fault. If the parent is absent, like if if dad has left the family or dad has died or the mom has left the family or mom has ran away or the mom has died, then the kid thinks that it's his fault. He is the reason because of which his dad died. Therefore, a lot of people, like you'll see this in, I think, in black community all the time. Like a lot of young kids in black community are fatherless, and because of this reason, they develop a constant hatred towards any kind of authority, and because they think that the authority is always going to be against them. They think that the authority is always going to abandon them. The authority is always going to do something bad to them because since their father was not present, and father is usually the model of authority in a household, right? The father is, or the grandfather, or the alpha of the household is usually the guy, usually the dad. 99% of the cases, usually the dad. And since in some families, uh, the dad is absent, and the essence of father, the essence of structure, or the essence of authority, a positive, a healthy authority is absent, what happens that the kid starts hating all kinds of authority. So they're going to get constantly in trouble. They're going to constantly do things that are going to put them against the authority. They're going to be a rebel. They're going to create all kinds of troubles, all sort of troubles, right? Because they think that they are bad, and because of them the fathers left. And when they grow up, they realize that a lot of other kids father have left. So that means all fathers must be bad. So this is the general line of logic that they follow. If a parent dies due to some reason, the kid will probably believe that he is the cause. For a kid, he is the center of his world. Why? Because since his parents are his entire world and they always do everything for him, so it must mean that he's the center of the entire world and everything that happens around him happens due to his mistakes and flaws. So it's not wrong to say that kids kind of have a god complex. Kids kind of believe that they are mini gods, like they can get whatever they want just by crying, right? Because kids kind of feel like a king, and which is a fucked up thing because nothing in life is in their control. But since they still have this god complex, they still believe that, you know, they still believe in their own grandiosity. They still believe that they are somehow the most important person in the entire world, right? Because obviously a kid is naive and a kid has an egocentric personality. Kid does not know about the world, so it's not his fault. So due to the above two factors, like the two slides that we talked about, right? Due to the above two factors, abandonment or parenting issues, a flawed worldview, and extreme egocentricity, kids start to believe that they are not okay the way they are. They might even start to believe that they're evil or broken or a mistake, which is a very common thing, right? This is the reason a lot of people have this question in their mind that why was I even born? And a lot of, like, in especially in today's society, this is so interesting. This is so fucking interesting because especially in today's society, if you look around, you will see that a lot of young people, like a lot of teenagers or a lot of like people who are in 20s or 30s, they're deciding not to have kids. They think that like they think that there is no reason to have kids, right? And the reason precisely because, like, why they are thinking this is because they believe that they came into a fucked up world and they were a mistake. They should have never been born. They are a mistake. They are broken, right? And because of this, they had to suffer a lot in the world. So why would they want to bring another child into the world who is going to suffer all the sufferings and pain that they have suffered while growing up in this fucked up world? And this is a very, very major thing. This is a very, very major uh, kind of a personality that people have. And you will see this very often that young people are refraining from having kids, from becoming parents. One of the reasons might be that they are very aware and they might believe that, the world is already very populated and there is no reason that I should bring more human beings on this world. We should bring more human beings in this world. But I don't believe that is the cause. I believe that that is a generalization. Sorry, that is not a generalization. I believe that that is a rationalization that people are making to themselves. But most people who refuse to have kids or who subscribe to the philosophy that having kids is bad, this philosophy or this belief system is coming from their own place of wound. This is coming from their own wound. This is coming from their own suffering and from their own pain. Since they have started to believe that they are evil or broken or a mistake, they don't want another kid to feel this way, right? So if their parents were insufficient and incapable of giving them the right upbringing, they think that they also won't be able to do that. And the kid is just going to have another miserable life. So why have kids anyways? So it's like in a fucked up way, they are trying to save the future generation by not even bringing them into the world, which is not right, which is not cool. If we all do this, we are going to go extinct very, very soon. Okay. So please make healthy babies and be a good parent. That is more important. All this leads to them developing toxic shame, right? All these things that we talked about, it leads to them developing a toxic shame about themselves. A belief, the spelling is wrong here, a belief that they are inherently bad, defective, different, and unlovable. They develop unsuccessful survival mechanisms to cope with their abandonment experiences. They try to prevent them from reoccurring. They try to hide their badness from themselves and from others. They believe that it's a bad or dangerous thing for them to be who they really are. Now, I want you to really think about this paragraph and let it sink in. Read it again. I'm going to give you a second. Read the paragraph again. So, All of these reasons result in toxic shame, internalized toxic shame, a belief that they are somehow inherently bad, evil, malfunction, unlivable, different, mistake, broken, flawed. Right? This is the internalized belief. This is called toxic shame. They are ashamed of themselves. They develop unsuccessful survival mechanisms as kids. Obviously, the strategy that you use to function in the world as a kid is not going to work very properly in the world of human beings, in the world of adults, right? In the world of business, in the world of jobs, in the world of universities. So they develop unsuccessful survival mechanisms to cope with their abandonment issues, which completely fails in the adult life. They try to prevent them from reoccurring. They try to hide their badness. So they think that if they can hide all their badness, all their flaws, all their mistakes, all their broken parts, then they will have a problem-free life. Then they're going to have a good life. They try to prevent them from reoccurring. So they try to prevent these kind of things or these kind of events from rehappening or reoccurring in their lives by trying to be nice to everybody, by trying to please everybody but themselves, right? They try to hide their badness from themselves and also others, which is very funny. Usually, a nice guy is going to have this belief that he is perfect the way he is, right? So there are usually two types of nice guys. The first type is a guy who thinks that he is so good, that I'm such a good guy. The another kind of nice guy is he thinks that I'm such a bad guy. So the guy who thinks that I'm such a good guy, he's like the topper of the class. He would do everything right. He would try to do everything perfectly. He is not going to cause any troubles. He's not going to cause any problems. He's going to try to have a conflict free, problem free life, which is just not the case because life is chaotic and problems are going to come, bro. Like, you have to understand, man, that life is a big, huge problem. Life is a huge game and it has challenges. It is not going to be very pretty. It is going to be ugly. Right? Life is beautiful and dangerous at the same time. Right? Life is like looking at a tiger, right? A tiger is very glorious, right? Very majestic, very beautiful. But only if you are maintaining a safe distance. If you get too close to the tiger, or if you are careless in the presence of a tiger, it's gonna eat you. So that's what life is like. And these kind of guys, the guy who thinks that he's so good and the guy who thinks that he's so bad. So the guy who thinks that he's so bad, he's also a nice guy. But he tries to be a rebel, but he tries to be like, oh fuck everything, I'm not going to work, I'm not going to follow any authority, I'm going to challenge or oppose any authority, I'm going to be a rebel, right? So these are two kinds of nice guys. So they believe that it's a bad or dangerous thing for them to be who they really are because they think that they are somehow broken or flawed or fucked up. They become too attached to their mothers, too distant from their fathers and other men. They constantly try to be different from other men or boys around them. They feel much more safe with women because generally, generally speaking, women are much more nice to kids. Right? So they figure out that if they can be very kiddish, they can be very playful, which is usually you will see this a lot in pickup communities and dating communities. That the guys will kind of figure out that women favor them if they are very childish, if they're very kiddish, if they're very fun, if they're very playful. And men are not going to favor that. Men are not going to give you any props or any attention or validation just because you're playful, right? Men need challenge to grow. Men are going to challenge you. Men are going to be a little bit assertive. Men are going to try to dominate, right? Every man tries to climb the success ladder or the dominance hierarchy, as Jordan Peterson says. So they become too attached to their mothers, too distant from the fathers and other men. They constantly try to be different from other men or boys around them. They feel much more safe with women because generally women are much more nice to kids. And also, other women remind them of their safe time or their happy time with their mom, right? So, other women basically remind them of their own mom and they keep on finding the second mother in other women. These nice guys, they keep on finding second mother in other women. This is the reason they are always trying to chase the validation of women. They're always trying to chase the attention of women. They're always trying to get approval or compliments or sex from women. Right? It's not because they love women. It's not because they want to have fun. It's not because they like this experience. This is only a surface layer of rationalization. If you go deeper, the truth is that they are looking for second mothers. They're looking for a mother in other women. They're looking for their mom in other women. Just like, so this is called as mommy issues, right? And in a similar way, women also have daddy issues. So they try to, they get attracted and attached to guys who are very authoritative, who remind them of their fathers, and who are very strong and assertive. Sometimes they are a little bit tyrannical. Sometimes they are a little bit tyrant. Sometimes they are a little bit of a bully, right? So, these jerks or these assholes that you will see, you will often see very beautiful women with them, right? Because that guy reminds that girl of her father, and it makes her feel safe. And they want that kind of nurture. They want that kind of, she wants that kind of protection. She wants that kind of authority in her life, so that she can keep being a naive little playful girl even in her adult life, right? So she does not have to become a mature woman, because that guy is going to take care of everything. So they carry the same beliefs and faulty coping mechanisms to their adulthood, which doesn't work, but they keep doing it hoping that someday it will work, right? One of the mistakes that men are making, or nice guys make, is they think that they have a fucked up coping mechanism, they have a fucked up survival strategy and a success strategy, and even if it is not working, they're not going to give it up. They keep on doing the same mistakes over and over again. They keep on repeating the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again, hoping that someday it will work, which, like, obviously, which doesn't work. So I think for today that is this, and in the next lecture we are going to talk a little bit more about how to get out of that. So the next lecture can be a little bit longer, but I'll try to divide it down into smaller pieces. So if you like the video, then let me know by liking it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with somebody else who may need it, right? I'm going to be making these kind of videos on other different books, on other different parts of life that will be very helpful to all men out there, right? So this is not just for people who are trying to learn pickup. This is actually for all men. This is for everybody out there, whether you are Indian or Australian or American. You can get a lot of value out of this, and if you actually imply this in your life, this is going to make your life a lot better. I'm working on a lot of things that I have mentioned in this lecture. By no means I'm perfect. By no means I'll say that I'm self-actualized or I have become enlightened. It's just that I have done a lot of research and I have done a lot of work in this area. Therefore, I am bringing you all of this knowledge and all of this information, all of this helpful tips, so that you can take this and apply this in your life. You can change your perspective. You can develop a healthy mindset. You can become a healthy male, because we need more healthy men. Okay. We need more alpha men. We need more kings. We need more warriors in our world. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Take care.